Hello, everyone. This is your host, alexbalgood, and this is Leap of Health. And today I'm super excited to have Jessica Bartley. She's a health practitioner, and we're going to be talking about muscle testing. I know you probably heard it before, or maybe not. And this is going to be just super, super excited. It's just one more tool for us to put on our health tool belt for us to heal ourselves and everybody around us. So it's going to be super, super cool. Before we go into this whole topic, Jessica, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to be this health practitioner that you are now. And I'm so excited, really, truly, to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you. So, I live in Wisconsin, and I'm a small town girl. I'm a pretty private person, so it's always actually tough for me to put myself out there. I'll just say that to start with. But several years ago, I actually had a very disruptive health situation occur. So I happened to be working from home in my full-time job at that time, and I just passed out and went into a seizure. And I proceeded to have seizures every about 15 to 20 minutes for 6 to 8 hours, just repetitive over and over and over again. And of course, I went to the ER. They couldn't figure out what was going on with me. None of the traditional medicine worked on me. I ended up after that having major health issues, to the point where within a year after that, I was almost unable to function. I had a hard time thinking. I had a hard time speaking. I was reduced to eating only about 12 foods at the time. So I just kept having to eliminate foods because I would react so poorly to them. My hands and everything about me would feel like they were on fire. I reacted to airborne food at the time. So if I was in a room with somebody who cooked tacos, I would react for months. And so I was in a spot that quickly I was headed towards total debilitation. And it had affected, I pride myself on my brain. I have a great brain. It works, when it works great. But that was going, and it was going so fast. And I went to doctor after doctor. I tried traditional medicine. I tried natural health practitioners. And for the longest time, I would make small amounts of progress with some of the natural health items. And it wasn't until I finally went to somebody who did muscle testing that ultimately I made some progress. And if you're not familiar with muscle testing ultimately is a way to get your body to issue a yes or a no response to something. So your body has the ability to say, yes, this is good for me, and no, this is bad for me, through a physical response that you can feel. And so I went to a practitioner that practiced this. I made some progress, but I sort of even faltered out there. I just didn't quite, I made some improvements. I was able to introduce a few more foods, but I still had to be so restricted, and I mean excessively controlled in my life about everything I exposed myself to, everything I did. Couldn't be around wireless signals. It was just chaos. My body was chaos. And so I learned myself how to muscle test. And through that, again, I could get to the point where then I could find out for myself, I could figure out for myself, is this healing for me or is this harmful for me? And it got me to a point where I could stop guessing about what supplements would help me, what foods could I eat or not eat, what could I be exposed to in the air, what body products was I putting on myself that was causing, reactions. It got me to the point where I could pre-answer those things before I bought a supplement, before I went to, frankly, see a chiropractor or an acupuncturist or anybody else in any other field. It got me to the point where my body could say, yes, this is good for me, and no, this is bad for me. And I could listen to that, and I could guide myself through my healing. And so I went through this journey of almost complete debilitation to within about 19 months of me learning this and then figuring out the exact questions to ask my body about what I needed to heal and how to heal it, getting to the point where I can eat whatever I want. I'm out of pain. I feel better in my 40s than I ever did in my 20s. and from there, then I worked with family, so I started, well, hey, if this worked for me, my mom has had a lot of chronic issues. Actually, in 2020, she was severely, frankly, I will say on death's door, she was in excessively bad shape. and I started working with her. And again, she was in a spot where she couldn't get help from doctors. And ultimately, through working with her and muscle testing with her and using a protocol that I've developed called body guided healing with her, we were able to get her life back. And after doing that and helping several family members, I then had friends and other people reaching out to me saying, help me, can you, doctors, I can't get anywhere with them. What can you do? And it just sort of snowballed from there.
That's amazing. And it's such a, like, if we really think about it, for the people that are a little bit familiar with muscle testing, it's so simple.
It is. It is. It is the easiest thing. I mean, for me, the first time I tried to muscle test and get myself to say yes or no to something, I could just do it. My body just said yes and it said no. The complicated part comes in with figuring out the questions. So using this tool you learn. So I find a lot of people that learn muscle testing and they go, yeah, it's helpful. I mean, I can kind of work my way around a few things, but where the power, I had a chiropractor who did muscle testing once say, it's all in the questions. And that was something that just as soon as he said that, it for me triggered this thought of, oh my goodness, how am I asking the questions and what questions am I asking? And as soon as I thought and processed on that and started playing around with, how do I ask, what questions am I asking? What am I asking my body? And I started asking my body more powerful questions. So questions like, what is the number one thing that I need to heal? And then testing through things to figure out, I have at the time, one of the core things I needed to deal with was metal toxicity. So I was heavy metal toxic. There's a lot of people that I had a mouthful of amalgam fillings when I was a kid and as an adult. But then how do I detox that? There are tons of protocols. Is one going to be effective? What's going to work for me? And I could ask that question and I could come up with the one thing that my body needed to move first. And that's often what it's like. Your body, for most people who have chronic, and I work with people who are highly, highly chronic often. For people who are highly chronic, it's not one thing. It's layer after layer after layer after layer of issues. And oftentimes they try to treat these other 5 things, but their body can't handle treating those 5 things. And there's one thing that they need to address first. And when you're able to muscle test and ask their body the exact thing that they need, not just some guess, not something that's generally good for things, but the exact thing that their body needs first. And you're able to come up with that and move the needle on that first thing, the other things can start to move after that. And they can start to get progress that they have not been able to get through any other mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, it might sound a little, woo-woo, if you will.
Oh, all the time,
But
Yep.
but it is, we always hear this little statement that is, all the answers are within. And they are.
Absolutely. The first person who told me about this and the first person who, and then frankly, there's other kind of areas you can get into with this, but the first person who told me about this, I was like, really? I don't know. That's kind of, I was a skeptic. I was, but I wasn't getting progress anywhere else. I wasn't, and so I thought, I'll try it. And that's usually the people, ultimately, so many of the people that I get that work with me, they'll often, they approach me and oftentimes they'll even say, I don't know if I believe what you do, but I don't care. I need help and nothing else is helping. I will try whatever, I'm willing to try it because I feel like I've exhausted every other possibility. And you're telling me you can understand exactly what my body needs. I can understand by muscle testing for you exactly what your body needs, not some other generic route or a protocol that may or may not work for
you. Yeah, it's just incredible how we could, with this muscle testing, have the correct answer.
Yeah.
And if you will explain a little bit of how this works, I think our listeners will be very grateful because I mean, I've experienced it myself. I do it sometimes on myself. If I go to my acupuncturist or my herbalist or internal medicine doctor, they will do these things for me. but I'm very familiar with this process. But if you will, try to explain to someone
Yeah,
that they're like, I kind of know what you're saying,
absolutely.
but not, please do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so how it works essentially is, your body is made up of energy. That's the reality of it. Look at science, study your body. It's everything on this earth is made up of energy, some type of energy. And your body has the ability to sense the energy of something you put next to it, something you think about, something you hold on to, something you taste. Your body can pick up on that energy. And when it's good for you, your body naturally gets strong. And when it's bad for you, your body naturally goes a little weak. So think about it like you had a sugar craving. You had a sugar craving, you fulfilled that sugar craving, and then all of a sudden you get this crash.
Mhm.
That crash, that's your body getting weak from something you put into it that it probably didn't really need, that didn't, in all reality, really energize it and truly benefit it. And so your energy goes, it just slumps. Your body has the ability for you to kind of request and get that information from it. And so for a lot of people, there's a couple of different methods that are really easy for people to learn from the start. And the first method is the sway method. Like that's often where I start teaching people is with, it's called the sway method of muscle testing. And you literally just stand up and you relax, and you just stand and you say a truth, so you say something like, my name is Jessica Bartley, and your body will naturally pull in a positive direction. And then make up a thought, my name is Donald Duck, and your body will naturally pull in a false direction. And it will, and again, you have to practice this. For a lot of people, it isn't just an immediate thing, but your body then, when you hold up a supplement to it, your body has the ability to say, yes, this is good for me, or nope, I don't like this, it's bad for me. And again, it's based on the energy that's in your body, understanding something that's good and something that's bad. And in all reality, you react this way throughout your life to everything. You think about those people who are good for you, who are positive for you, and they build you up and you feel all good. That's positive energy. And you think about those people that you go, yeah, I have to talk to that, and your energy goes, and so your life in all reality, you see this and you experience this all the time. Muscle testing is just learning how to use your body to show it's strong when something is good for it and it's weak when something is not. And it's about how you figure out how to understand that about your body. And you typically use your muscles in order to be able to read yes or no. And your body has an ability to issue this response to pretty much anything that it can pick up on the energy of. And so it's used, like you said, there's an entire field of medicine that's around this called kinesiology. This is not an unstudied, practice. This is a very studied, method that's used. But ultimately, it is used by a lot of alternative medical practitioners, acupuncturists, chiropractors, nutritionists, various different groups work with muscle testing. And sometimes people don't even realize that that's what somebody's doing on them, but that is what they're doing on them, is they're reading their energy and their body is saying, yes, this is good for me, or no, it's not.
Mm-hmm. And it's just so wonderful.
It is. It is. I mean, think about, for all of the people out there trying to figure out how do I heal from something that is chronic, where doctors want me to take this prescription, but the prescription doesn't heal me. It just masks my symptoms. It might make my body feel better for a time, but ultimately it doesn't heal what's causing this problem. And oftentimes then people develop other chronic conditions from it, or it just escalates in their body. And to be able to to be able to understand what can actually heal your body, it's just, it's the most powerful thing that I have ever encountered. I've studied so many different forms of, especially natural medicine, because that's what appeals to me. That's what I think is best for my body. I've studied so many different mechanisms, I guessed for the longest time at what supplements would be good for me, from doing tons of research. And then as soon as I locked into this tool, it was like, wow, this is powerful. This is powerful beyond anything that I have ever experienced before.
Yeah. I mean, we don't think about our bodies being that powerful, but they are,
They are.
and they hold all the answers. And I love it that science has proved that muscle testing really works,
Yes.
and it works for so many things. As you mentioned, you could use it to really ask yourself, is this, going to help me? Is this supplement good? Is this good or not
Yeah.
for me? So I think it's awesome. I know for my listeners that you have heard some of my stories before. um I am, I won't say allergic. It's more I developed these food intolerance
Yep.
to banana and avocado.
Yep.
And I had this pain for the longest time, right? And nothing will help, little holistic things will make it better and whatever. But every time, every time, every time. And it just one day it occurred to one of my, you know, holistic doctor was like, why don't we do muscle testing on
Yeah.
certain foods that you just eat all the time? Because avocado is so good for you. Banana is so amazing for you. And so he muscle test me for those two, because those were the two items I will eat every day, like
Yeah.
forever in my whole life, right? And yeah, he did muscle testing on those two things. And my body was like, no, I do not want any more
Yeah.
avocado or banana. And it's been a lot of years now since I stopped. And the other day, my mom goes like, well, maybe you're better now. Why don't you just, eat a little banana or whatever? And I tried it and I was like, no, it's still not good
Yeah.
for me. But it was just so amazing that, all we did all these other things to find
Yeah.
out what I had the pain. And it never went away once I stopped eating these two things. And
Yeah.
obviously I also did other energetically work on my body and stuff. But those two was like the beginning of like my body to start being healthier. So I thought it was just great. I'm like, gosh, this is so amazing for so many things. And it's so easy, it doesn't hurt. Your body is just there to tell you all the answers. And it's just so great. And I love what you're doing, because now you came up with this protocol. You're gonna start teaching, and I'm so excited because I'll probably be the first one there in line to see what you're doing. Tell us a little bit about this protocol and how we will be able to use it for ourselves.
Yeah. So your example actually is perfect for this. So thank you for, you gave me this lead in I never expected. But what's different about what I do is I don't settle for the fact that avocado and bananas aren't good for you. There
Right?
is something going on in your body that is underlying that either, something's not working right, or there's something in your body that's, potentially a virus, a parasite, a toxicity that's causing, because bananas and avocados are healthy for
Right.
you. And if your body's not responding positively to healthy foods, there's something going on there that's likely chronic, that's causing. And
Mhm.
I gear my muscle testing, and what I'm teaching is gearing muscle testing towards tackling and addressing those causes.
Mhm.
Because so often we focus on the symptoms. We focus on, in muscle testing or just in any treatment, any type of treatment. The first thing somebody comes to you and they say is, well, I have this going on and this going on and this, I have back pain, or I get headaches, or I have this digestive problem. And they often want a solution to that digestive problem. And the first thing that I tell people when I work with them is, I will not treat your symptoms. I treat your causes. And when you are able to get to use muscle testing, again, first you have to learn muscle testing. So you have to learn how to understand your body's yes, no response. And again, it's a very physical thing that you end up learning how to feel. You end up feeling it in your own body, a yes, no response. Then beyond that, it's building confidence in your yes, no response. Because a lot of people, they'll start to muscle, and I did this, you start to muscle test, and the first thing you do is you question, like, did I just make that happen or did that really happen? Like, I think I really wanted to eat that
That's true.
avocado, so I said it was good for me, and or nah, I'm suspecting the avocado is bad for me, so I said no, and you have to learn your way through that. It doesn't happen right away. It takes practice, just like anything else. You don't just start playing the violin, the first time you pick it up. You practice, you learn, you trial and error with it. You try different techniques. You try, and it takes practice to learn it. But then when you learn it, when you build that skill of muscle testing, then it's about the questions. And that's really the specialty. That's my secret sauce in all reality. It isn't the muscle testing, because anybody can learn to do muscle testing. I'm convinced of it. I've had people that have said, I've tried it, I can't do it, I've tried, and I work with them and they can learn muscle testing. They just have to get more sensitive. They have to tune into their body a little bit more. But so anybody can do and learn muscle testing. But the key then is how you apply that muscle testing to ask questions of your body about what the cause is and what the first thing is that your body needs. And then how you build a protocol off of that to help your body heal and really work through things. I am somebody that, my background, actually, I came from a technology, a computer background, and troubleshooting and fixing things that are broken. And it was such preparation for this, because, I was always the person that went, well, that should work. Why doesn't it work? And I dig and dig and dig and dig until I could find a solution. And I believe it's that same concept applied to your body that really is what can lead to true healing. Not just, I went through the food intolerances and the removing, at my worst, I was at 12 foods. I could eat, and only 12 foods cooked very certain ways in order for my body not to horribly respond to what I was eating, and in order for my body to try to get some kind of relief. And I knew I needed to solve that problem, and I needed to solve that problem through figuring out, how do I ask my body these questions that allows it to get to and to heal the root cause of the issue, so that is gone and my body can truly heal. And that's ultimately what I'm focusing on teaching. And my challenge has been, I never thought I'd teach. I never thought I'd be a health practitioner. It was the first thing from my mind for the vast majority of my life. But this is what I'm called to. This is very clearly what I'm called to. And what I found is I have so many people coming to me and saying, please help me. I'm desperate. I mean, and that's where I was. It just breaks my heart. I was there. I was at the point that I didn't know if I would be functional in months or years from where I was at. And I have so many people come to me desperate, and I can't help them all. And not because it won't work on them, but because I can't possibly work with that many people. There's only so many people that I can help to the level that I need to focus in order to help them. And that's ultimately what tipped me into teaching. I need to teach, you can feed some, you can fish for some, what is it? You can fish for somebody, or you can teach them to fish, I need to teach people to fish, because ultimately I want to see mothers take this into their home and help their children. And I want to see, husbands learn this and help their wives. I want to see it amplified. I want to see word really get out there and people know that there is hope when they're hopeless. And that's ultimately why I call my, my practice is New Hope Natural Healing. And it's that because ultimately I want to give people new hope when they're desperate. I've been there and thinking that who's going to help me, and ultimately learned how to help myself. And that's what I want to teach other people. It's a life skill that they learn it once and they have it for life.
Yeah.
You can't tell I'm passionate about this.
We learn calculus in school for no reason.
Yeah.
Why are we not learning muscle testing when we're like in junior high?
Oh my goodness.
To really figure a lot of the things that, because this, as you mentioned, it helps for a lot of chronic disease, for a lot of, food intolerance, for a lot of little things that we go through life.
Yeah.
And I almost see it too as it really gives us a lot of insight on how our mental health and the things that we go through and the people that we talk to or not, or in our relationships and everything. Like, we have
Yeah.
all the answers. This is such an amazing tool. What are some of the things that have had impact you the most when people come and with all these crazy chronic diseases, and you're like, wow, I didn't know this this patient or this person was really gonna pull through? What are some of
Yeah.
the things that
Oh,
you have seen that you're like, wow, this muscle testing really proved me that this is great?
yeah. Honestly, my first and I would say biggest testimony towards this is my mother. And I know it's sometimes I feel like, oh, you're using family as an example, but she was so chronic to the point where I had gone to her home to stay with her. And it was right at the time of COVID. It was right at the beginning of, March, I think it was March 2020, where
Yeah.
the world was shutting down. And she was so chronic. I had gone to her home to try to figure out how to make her comfortable to die. Like, that's the stage she was in. Her body was shutting down, her organs were failing, she had changed color. She was so mentally agitated. And she's normally a very happy, pleasant, I take after her in so many ways, very happy, pleasant person. Um, and she was just in shambles, and her body was we had conversations that weekend, my siblings and I, and my brother had said, I'll plan the funeral, like, I'll take that responsibility. You work with her now and try to just get her comfortable. And so I had literally gone out, to her home and to stay with her to try to help her pass comfortably. And I started trying to just get some good things in her that I thought, you know what, I don't know that these things are going to help, but they might just ease some of her discomfort. They might help calm some of her mental agitation. And so I started working with her, started muscle testing for her, started to get some different things into her. And I started to see these positive responses from her body. I started to see a little bit more calm in her mental state. I started to see her color change a little bit. And within 2 weeks, I knew there's a chance here. Like, there is a chance that she could pull out of this. And I worked with her. I'm trying to think of how long it was. And I still work with her. Reality, I still work with her. She, depends on me
Mhm.
heavily for trying to navigate anything health related. But within a year, we had her back to having her grandkids over, driving, baking and cooking. My mom is a baker. Like, that she is feeling okay, or she's in her zone when she is cooking and baking for people and sending stuff home with you. That's my mom. And as soon as I saw her bake a chocolate cake for my dad, I was like, she's back. I got my mom back. And I mean, to be able to help somebody that you love so much, I'm getting emotional, to help them get their life back, and then to have their her grandkids be able to have their grandmother, was just phenomenal. And then, from there, some other things that I have helped with. It's been interesting. I had one client that I was working with that was just in chronic pain, had so many massive headaches, and had been through the ringer with practitioners, like had been to again, traditional medicine doctors, tons of alternative practitioners, and was just struggling to get anywhere. And again, said, I don't know what else to do. And I started working with her, and immediately was able to identify, here is the cause of, you have a toxicity that is unusual. And no, I don't know of a test. I think, there's maybe a hair test that would show this, but doctors didn't know to run that on her. They never thought to do that exact test. And I was able to muscle test, tell her exactly what the toxicity was, start to clear that out, and then start to work with getting things into her body that would actually heal her bones. She was in a heavy state of osteoporosis. Start to actually heal her bones, or work to resolve that issue in her bones. And then ultimately, she's very young. She was actually in her early 30s. And she had wanted at some point to be a mother, but was not in health condition to be able to do so. Within 6 months, her body started actually testing for a prenatal vitamin. And I said, you're testing for this. I don't know why. Maybe you just need all, the exact nutrients that are in this or whatever. And within a couple of weeks was pregnant. And so, she went from, I am so unhealthy, I can't, to my body is in good shape to be able to carry a baby, and to be able to have a healthy baby. I've worked with everything from, with that and ultimately leading to pregnancy, positive pregnancy being a good end result with that client to, people who have had such mental health issues, that frankly, they've been through, again, the ringer of being on 6, 7, 8 different antidepressants, antipsychotics, all of these different medications, and frankly, getting worse and getting worse and getting worse, losing jobs, disrupting their home lives, and being able to work with them actually to say, your body can't handle these prescription medications. There's certain prescription medications your body is genetically unable to handle. Try this one and work with your doctor, get them to DNA test you, have them try this one. And again, normally I work fully in natural health. However, I also do work with, this is such a desperate situation. You need something to pull you out of this fast. They ended up DNA testing her and figuring out that she could handle one specific prescription medication that would work with her body. Switched her over to that, and again, getting her life back. And now we're still, we're working still on trying to unravel that so she does not even need that. But to change from that complete state of mental agitation, to be able to go from that to a state where you can function again, all through muscle testing and understanding what your body is able to accept and use and what it needs to heal. Those are some of my, I would say, best or just moments that just have amazed me in working in this.
Yeah, I know. And I think it's great because it's not like you are giving them much. You're just asking questions and you're guiding these patients to be like, do this treatment or do this medicine or do this thing, which is great because I feel like a lot of the people that gets ill at some point in their lives, we go through that stage of like, try this, try that, because obviously the doctors don't know the exact thing for everyone. Like everybody's different, everybody reacts different to things. So the doctors are going to do what they know, and what they know is to try things. So they have you try things in hopes you're going to get better,
Absolutely.
And that's them doing their best. They're like, okay, try this medicine, try maybe physical therapy, try go to the psychologist, go to the psychiatrist, try all these things in hopes you're gonna get better. But what better way? Just imagine this.
Right.
You go to someone where is gonna ask you a million questions, and we're gonna go down to like the final one answer that you actually need. So instead of, kind of like maybe doctor or whoever was going to give you a multivitamin, but guess what? You maybe just needed vitamin B12.
Right. Your body can't handle a full multivitamin right now. It needs this one, and what is, amazing, I went to natural practitioners again when I was desperate and trying to figure out, I tried all sorts of things, and I paid thousands and thousands of dollars for tests, for stool tests and mold tests and hair tests and all sorts of tests. And I didn't need to pay for any of those. I just needed to learn how to use my own body to say, yep, that's the question you need to ask for me, and that's what will help me, or no. And it was all right here. And I could have saved myself oodles of money, that I just learned this technique from the start. But I didn't, there's a reason why I went on that journey. But that's the thing is, even those tests, often those tests can't tell you that you have a bacteria in your brain, and your body needs to clear that bacteria out of your brain because they can't access your brain. They can't access all the bacterial levels in your brain or in your spine. There are so many places that these tests can't reach, and your body reaches all of those. Your body knows all of that. It knows everything going on in the whole of it. And so in places where testing can't even tell you what is going on, muscle testing can tell you what is going on.
Yep. It's just
For
so
free.
fantastic.
You know what
It's so fantastic.
Not all the cost.
I love when I come across certain tools, that are free and that are easy and that are so accessible, but we just don't have the knowledge because, for whatever reason, right? I was blessed enough to know about muscle testing since my early 20s. I'm now 40. Don't tell anyone. But, like a lot of people, they don't. And I think this is why I keep trying to find these jewels in the world like you that actually want to come out in this world and be like, this is something else that you want to do. This past year, I interview a lot of people from the quantum biology group. It's a group, I'm not sure if you ever heard of them, but it's a group of clinicians, health practitioners, like every doctors, MDs, nurses, and everything. And now they're telling us that scientifically how earthing
Oh, yes.
will do such an amazing work for your body. How just, go out in the sun, watch the sunset and the sunrise and everything. Take that light and the information to help you, breathe.
Yep.
I mean, all these things that are so crazy, easy, and they're so available for anyone. We're always are like, no, I don't want to try acupuncture. I don't want to, it's too hard to go to the herbalist. I don't believe in the herbalist. All these things that we tell ourselves all the time, especially when it comes to down to the money. But now, that we know better, now we do better. We know a lot of things that we could do for free, that we don't have to pay all this money, and that are going to make us healthier every time. And muscle therapy is just one of those things that you must learn because it's just a life-changing thing. It's just, I can't say enough of this. I love it so much.
I totally agree. Honestly, I learned this. I spent time, investing in, just thinking through and develop, like, how do I ask myself these questions that really make a difference in my healing? And I learned that, and I use it for myself. I use it for my family. I use it for my friends. Obviously, I've created a practice out of it. Use it, learn it. It is such a worthy investment of your time to learn it, because, and frankly, then for me, it's cut out having to go to doctors, to acupuncturists, to chiropractors. I still every now and then will venture to, to another practitioner, but generally I don't need to do that anymore, because when I feel like something's a little off, I just test for myself and I figure out, oh, my body needs a little bit more magnesium, or it needs a little bit more vitamin K2, or it needs this mineral, or this herb would benefit me. I just do my testing. I up certain foods. I need more nuts. I need more protein. I need more, I need more water. I'm a little dehydrated. I need more bananas because I need more potassium, and so I can tell even what foods my body, I don't always use supplements. I often do use foods. That's actually my goal to get to with people is where more of it is sustained through food. But I have the tool to be able to do that and to not have to go knock on another practitioner's door in order to get a chiropractic adjustment, or in order to, get a massage. I still enjoy a massage, but, but I don't have to do those things. My body doesn't require it for maintenance anymore. I am able to maintain myself through the food that I eat, through the supplements that I take, through the practices like, earthing or grounding, getting sunlight, being out in nature, all of those things. And I've been able to ditch, all of those other expensive practitioners, sorry, chiropractor and acupuncturist and all that. But, I've been able to let go of all of that because I have learned this skill and have this tool myself now.
But even, with that, even if you're like, no, I really need to go see a practitioner. You could ask yourself.
I do.
Which one?
I do. I muscle test.
Yeah.
Would acupuncture help me?
Yeah,
Would chiropractic help me? Yeah, exactly. Yep. What would benefit my body? What of those would benefit my body? And my body can say, yep, acupuncture, because you've got an energy channel maybe that's not quite flowing right. And that would be that's the best tool to help you. I don't have to guess, or I don't have to go to one and then have the chiropractor say, well, there's nothing for me to adjust on you. I've had that before. There's nothing for me to adjust on you. I'm not
Mhm.
sure why you're feeling that, I can muscle test, and my body knows acupuncture, it knows chiropractic, and it can tell me which one is actually going to help me. So my resources are spent in the right place.
Exactly. And that's just like the best thing
Yep.
because now we don't have to be guessing like, oh, do I need to go to the functional medicine for
Right.
testing or do I need this herb? Do I need to see the acupuncturist or the, chiropractor? So this is such a great guide, right? Like now you have the right answer. And as you were talking, it reminds me on how like if you ask the universe for for the right questions, they will give you the right
Yeah.
answers. One of my mentors will always gives us this example, right? A lot of people, they're always saying like, well, I want money, right? And money could be anything. It could be
Right.
one penny. Maybe the universe is
Right.
universe is giving you one penny every day because it's just money, right? 5 cents, who knows? But if we could be just specific on our questions,
Yep.
as like, you know what, universe, I want money. I want 2,324 with 5 cents because I need that exact money to do blah, 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 blah. Right? Isn't it
Yeah.
that changes the
Well, yes,
whole
and I will say,
thing?
I'm a strong Christian, so I would replace universe with God. That would be
Yeah,
my,
yes,
that's my
yes, of
beliefs,
course, of course.
and I actually get that question. I actually get that question a lot about, well, how does this align with, your beliefs, and how do you, well, God created me this way. He created all of us with this ability.
Exactly.
This isn't, for me, I don't take this from some other, practice or religion or anything else like that. But yes, that is like, you are, there, I am a big believer that what you put out affects, what comes back. Huge believer in that.
Yeah.
And that, yes, the more specific and the more direct that you can get with what you put out, with the questions you ask yourself, with what your intention is, the more specific and direct, that's what you can receive back. And the more specific and direct that your body can respond to that and can help answer that. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that just hit on the nail. It's just and when it comes down to muscle testing, it's just those questions
Yeah.
is just it's so key and so great.
It's so key. It's so key. It's the difference often between people saying like, yeah, it's kind of cool that I could get my body to do that. It's kind of cool that I could feel something and I can get a yes, no. But it's the difference between being able to think it's cool and it's kind of neat, and actually being able to leverage it as a very powerful tool.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's just amazing. I just can't wrap my head around like how a lot more people, they don't know this.
I,
But don't worry about it. We'll get everyone to
that's
know
my
this.
that's my goal. I mean, I never thought I would teach, but that's my goal, is to start. I am working on a program that I'm hoping to release in June of this year. I'm going to start real small with a small group of people, because I want to really hand hold people through learning this. But ultimately, I want this to become something that every family has somebody in the family equipped that knows how to do this.
Nice.
I want to see that spread in a way, that it really helps make a difference in the world and make a difference for people, because I don't want to see so many people so desperate.
Mhm.
And that's just we are in that state that's where so many people are, and there's hope. You don't have to be desperate. There is hope.
Exactly. No, and it's just so beautiful. Like we have so many amazing tools out there to do that. Yes, as you said, there's hope for everyone. And, we could do a lot of really great and amazing things with this. So,
Yeah.
yes. This has been such an amazing conversation. It's just really fills me up with a lot of love and hope and everything for everyone. And I'm so glad I came across you and what you're doing. I think it's so amazing. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us before we go?
Look, if you're interested in learning more, you can look for me at newhopenaturalhealing.com. I'd love to have a conversation with people who are struggling, who are desperate. I'd like to help them know that there's a way and there's a path, and it doesn't have to be, your life doesn't have to be lived in pain or lived miserably or lived with removing oodles of foods from your diet. There's a way to healing, and your body holds the answers to that. And I'd love to have a conversation on it.
Yes. And I will also put all your information on the show notes for everybody to reach out to you and see what you're doing. And if they have any questions and everything, I'll put all the information so they can get in contact with you. For everybody else, if you would like to know about my show and what I'm doing, you can find me at alexbalgood.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, pretty much everywhere. Remember, my book is out. You can buy it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It's called Parents Are Greatest Teachers. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Jessica, for all the information and all this amazingness that you're doing. I'm super excited, and I can't wait to talk to you again when the program is out. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Jessica. And please do have an amazing day.